addicts are seeking out fentanyl. Everybody knows I'm a recovering opioid addict. Even among opioid addicts, we have our opioid of choice. Mine happened to be Vicodin. If I took something less than or something equal to that Vicodin without even the name, okay, if it had a different name to it, even psychologically, that would affect me to where this isn't going to do it for me.
I'm Flindt Andersen, founder of PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need. I've been in recovery since 2001, and there isn't much I don't know about recovery. And my mission is to constantly tell the truth about addiction, to make the realities of addiction, recovery, and drug culture known, and to drive awareness and advocate change that ultimately saves lives.
And I'm Jason LaChance, a certified recovery coach with a passion for speaking with others and sharing their knowledge to help others seek recovery and maintain long-term sobriety. And this is the Don't Hide the Scars podcast, presented by PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need. This is the Don't Hide the Scars podcast. I'm Jason LaChance, of course, sitting down with founder of PAIN, Flindt Andersen. How are we, good sir?
I'm good, Jason. How are you?
Oh, hey, pushing through like you. But I do have a question for you, and this is very pertinent in how you answer this towards our friendship, our working relationship. Steve Martin, funny or not?
Wow, what a great question. 60% of the time funny.
Okay. All right, that works, because I think he's freaking hilarious. And I was watching this great documentary on him, and my girlfriend's like, I don't know, I don't get it. And I'm like, I don't know if this relationship's going to work. So I figured I'd throw that towards you too. But yeah, I agree with you.
He's to me, he's 60% funny. I mean, it's all good stuff.
Yeah.
It's all good stuff. I just got to be in the mood for his comedy a lot of the
times. I gotcha. I figure since we're going to get into some heavy stuff, we get some laughter out of the way.
Absolutely.
There's been so much interesting stuff, and it continues in the news, and we continue to fight for recovery. It really is seemingly there's no better way to pin it than you put it. There's a war against recovery, with so much of this stuff and seeing it in the news. And it's, if we get people housing, then it's going to be fine. And it's like, no, you just remove them from the streets and give them a place. You don't have to give recognition anymore that hundreds of thousands of people this last year died of an overdose, and it's the #1 killer in the world. And it's messed up. It's wrong.
It is. It is. And I'm seeing, not a great deal, but I'm seeing some movement here as far as, more people wanting to become that advocate piece for more Narcan and, more medically assisted drugs, working towards changing the laws, which I agree with 120%, on stronger penalties for drug dealers. But we've got an immediate problem. I mean, those are all major problems. Don't get me wrong. But we've got an immediate problem. And the immediate problem is we're not getting people the help that they need.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've and again, I keep repeating myself. I'm sounding like a broken record. I just don't get it. I just don't get it how and why the change can't be made. And again, I'm not trying to put this down, but how many more Narcan trainings can we do? Okay. And again, I love the Narcan trainings, but when those Narcan trainings, nobody's given that final piece to the puzzle. Nobody's saying, hey, once that person is revived from Narcan, what's the next step?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously, when you're doing your thing and you're researching and you're doing all this stuff, I mean, do you ever see or hear of somebody even making that statement?
No. And I know we had a conversation about it. Individuals been here on the podcast really pushes the harm reduction thing. And I put it to them, how would you want it if it was your child out there? And they didn't give a response, oddly enough. But I'm sort of not surprised. But it's what really pisses me off is that's all. It's like a set it and forget it type of attitude. This isn't a passive thing. Like, and if you don't make an addict have to do like needle exchange, hey, I don't want anyone getting AIDS, hepatitis, none of that stuff. But when is it going to actually like be an exchange? It's never an exchange. It's I use this, I come in and I get more. That's not an exchange. I know as me, as a person in recovery, guess what? You had to make me do.
Right.
It wasn't enough to just don't drink.
Right.
Sounds great and simple. Doesn't work that way. You had to make me do stuff. And I even needed the interdiction piece where standing there in a courtroom in front of a judge and then getting an ankle monitor on me was freaking scary.
Right.
And even that didn't stop me for in and out for about 2 years until it was very clear that a couple of people told me, you included, you got to do something. About you and your advocacy work. That's not recovery. That's not your recovery.
Right.
So we're just giving it to where you don't have to do anything. Here's here's needles, here's what
here's test strips.
Yeah.
Here's Narcan.
Yeah, it's there has to come a point where we have to do something.
I know.
An accountability, and it's just taking it all out. It's a lot of pandering, in my opinion.
It is a lot of pandering. It's a lot of let's make sure we just keep everybody alive. But along with that, I look at the scenario of the land of the walking dead. We keeping them alive. Again, I agree with it. I mean, I'm not saying no. But just to keep somebody alive, I mean, I guess we have to. But it's not changing anything. And every addict, every alcoholic, everyone that I know that has a successful recovery has been given tasks to do, and they've done them. This is not a program. I even hate that word program, but it's not a program of laziness. This is a program of action. And if you do not apply action to your recovery, the last thing you are is clean and sober. The last thing you are is a productive member of society. But you're alive.
Yeah.
And some people are okay with that, I guess. But when we're looking at when we look at the numbers of addicts, people, and again, that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody that's addicted to a narcotic or to alcohol is a criminal or steals or is living in a tent somewhere, right? There's a lot of those out there that, again, I do not like the term functioning addict or functioning alcoholic. There's nothing functioning about us at that point when we are dependent on a substance. Nothing. Because you still your main goal is focused on that drug or that alcohol. So how are you functioning normally? All right, if your main goal every day is to make sure you have enough drugs and alcohol in your system.
Yeah. You might still complete. I mean, hey, I take a look at myself. When I was in my radio career, I was still getting tasks done, but it wasn't that it was, thriving. I mean, I can't even recollect. I don't know. I would have to ask people. I mean, it seemed I got stuff done, but Why was I doing that? Because I needed a paycheck.
Sure.
Why? Because I had to, you know, my mind, I was always, well, the booze came last. Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah, right.
New Perceptions North, the premier drug and alcohol treatment and recovery center in Central California. A full continuum of medically supervised top quality care with programs for detox and patient residential treatment with dual diagnosis, intensive outpatient treatment, sober living support groups, and more. New Perceptions North provides adult men and women with the highest caliber of professional health care, treating each client with compassion and respect, in a safe, comfortable environment to begin the process of recovery to proudly create and sustain a life without addiction. Call 559-978-1507 or visit newperceptionsnorth.com.
Okay, but look, and again, I'm not putting down anybody's job here, all right? But if you're working in a 7-Eleven, I'm sorry, the tasks aren't that difficult. You're going to make change, which makes change for you. You don't even have to count anymore. You probably have to sweep the place. You might have to clean a bathroom or two and make sure the doors are locked. I don't know. I mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, it's so. But then you have people that are dependent on a drug that are working for NASA.
Yeah.
That's just a scary statement in itself.
Yeah. Well, I sent you that thing on Twitter the other day where it showed it was a report. There was video from people that were there on the streets. A middle-class person's car ran into a very high-end car. As it turns out, the lady had used fentanyl while driving. So this is a lady we can assume. I didn't find anything more about the report, who she was, but she was well clothed.
Right.
So this is clearly a person that probably was maintaining some sort of living, that it's that strong. It had to be in her car. She had to have that hit. Right. Nodded out, crashed. I checked on what the other car is. It's a $250,000 high-end sports car.
Right.
And luckily she didn't kill anyone. Yeah. But she's not here anymore.
Right.
She had to have it that bad. And that's the thing that bothers me with the chink in the armor. Like, okay, we can provide, heroin that's through the government or whatever these things are. And it's ludicrous to me to leave any chink in the armor. It just is. Like, I don't know.
Well, we beat this drum pretty loud around here. But I don't know if there's enough drums to beat anymore. Because it seems and it appears that anything that has to do with treatment or changing treatment has come to a complete halt, complete stop. When you're not talking about it, when you're not making noise about it, then nobody's going to care. I really believe that. Somebody was asking me the other day, how do you they were asking me, how do I maintain the desire and the passion to keep doing what I'm doing? And I said, first of all, that's a great question, because my answers have changed over the years. Today, as much as the passion that I still have for it, and the older I get, the more I'm understanding how the system works, and I'm beginning to realize that most of this may not get accomplished. That it just there's a possibility that it's not going to, and a good one, that it's not going to happen. Doesn't mean we stop doing what we're doing, but there's not enough people out there that are on our bandwagon of why aren't we changing treatment and treatment practices?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I do believe we're coming down to we're coming to the point. God, I hope I never see this, that that there's just going to be a pile of treatment centers that just that close their doors.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you got great people out there working in treatment. You got great people you got treatment centers, obviously, that are shitty. Okay. But we've got great treatment centers out there. People do want to help, but you know, the people that really want to help, they're getting tired too, I believe.
I'd agree.
You know, they're getting a little tired.
Yeah. Yeah. We are seeing some fatigue for sure. It's, hey, you and I, there's definitely a fatigue there. And, you know, and it's hard. The conversation we had last week with Assemblyman Jim Patterson was pretty eye-opening too, you know, because I've been trying to catch more things with legislators, especially California, and they're talking. And as you know, there was a reporter who pinned Barbara Ferrer to, you know, corner as far as asking a question like, hey, have you gone to this place where this needle exchange program is happening and really seen? No, I've not gone there. And the question that followed, and I'll try to plug it in here, that followed was just, it didn't create dialogue. It was just shut down. Oh, I have lots of programs to oversee. And I think Jim really kind of talking with him got me down that hole of him saying that, you know, certain people, elected officials, are starting to see that, hey, they're not going to get reelected unless they change some opinions here. And it was so eye-opening for me to be like, wow, damn, these people aren't even willing to have conversations around this, let alone like he was saying where it was somebody he was trying to get to show up to one of these hospitals helping children in need. And it's like a negotiation to do it. It's like, well, what do you give a damn about then? I mean, what are you all just going to dinner at the French Laundry and then getting together and making sure that those that are coming to put money in your pockets, you're getting it? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. No, and Jim's right. There are very few politicians that actually have a cause, you know, because they want to appease everybody. Right. They want to appease everybody's cause, and by doing that, you get nothing accomplished. You know, you can't have your fingers in so many pies that the pie doesn't cook. Okay, I mean, think about it. I mean, even this upcoming or the election that was just passed, the one that's coming up. I mean, tell me one person that ran on the fentanyl platform. Now, David Tangy Paw, all right. He's got interest in it. Okay, he's got interest in the fentanyl issue. I don't know of one other person,
no,
out there that has even met. I can't even think of one that's mentioned the fentanyl epidemic.
No,
but again, Jason, we're what they're talking about is the border. They're talking about how strong the fentanyl is. They're talking about legislation to try to change the time in jail for drug dealers. Nobody's talking about the treatment side.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just in this last week alone, we have had 3 people call us that have relapsed on fentanyl. And don't want to come back into treatment because they're going to go down the methadone route.
Okay.
Somehow somebody talked them into it because it's okay and blah, blah, blah. And again, nobody's trying to force somebody to do something that they don't want to do. But our job is to make sure they know all the details and all the potential risks and long-term health risks and everything else to staying on a methadone for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, a couple of them are just in their, late 20s.
Wow. Yeah, when I mean, I just don't get the lack of the greater understanding that when you are in it and you have yet to get to that point in sobriety where you realize now if you relapse, you Flindt, me, Jason, it was a choice. Like,
Yeah.
we're clear-headed enough. And
Yep.
until that point, you are a harm to yourself.
Right.
And potentially to others. This
Yes.
is a public safety issue. And why I don't know. I'm baffled at the lack of the channels that are actually available to the masses to help, because this is a mass issue. If it wasn't, again, it wouldn't be the number one killer in the United States and the world. It is an epidemic, like you said. This is a mass issue that needs mass results, not this sit around and wait and how are we going to get credit and blah, blah, blah. But I want to ask you before we wrap up here, are you hearing anything out there about, because you talk a lot about the fact that people are fentanyl addicts. This is what they are seeking. Are you hearing anything out there from people saying that there's less individuals coming for the help and the resources, much like you mentioned here, these people that just want to go the methadone route?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, there is no slowdown of fentanyl coming across the border. So what does that just tell us right out of the gate? That tells that tells us that people are seeking it out.
Mm-hmm.
Addicts are seeking out fentanyl. When everybody knows I'm a recovering opiate addict. Even among opioid addicts, we have our opioid of choice. Mine happened to be Vicodin. If I took something less than or something equal to that Vicodin without even the name, okay, if it had a different name to it, even psychologically, that would affect me to where this isn't going to do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different than with fentanyl addicts because of the strength of the fentanyl. They have to have it. Even these people that I've talked to this last week said the same thing. They're now hearing that these people, that these addicts that are out there saying, yeah, we're seeking it out. Look, this goes all the way back to our podcast with Julian. At the time, 18-year-old kid, okay? He was seeking out fentanyl. He wanted it. His buddies wanted it. They had to have it because anything less than is not going to take care of their addiction.
Mm-hmm.
I'm baffled why people and how people cannot understand that. I am totally baffled by it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear about that in the news. If a fentanyl addict that is shooting up, smoking it, whatever, okay, and he's going through a gram a day, do you honestly think that dropping a couple 7.5 milligram or a couple 10 milligram Norco is going to take care of his addiction? Not in the slightest.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the slightest. And these are the things that I believe. These are the things I know that you believe. That somehow have to get across to the people that are the puppeteers right now, that are holding the strings over treatment, holding the strings over the addiction crisis in order to get changed.
Mm-hmm.
I said it 2 years ago. I said it 4 years ago. I've said it 10 years ago. I've said it 15 years ago. Until this society understands what addiction is and how it affects our brains and everything else about us, this problem is never going to go away. And you cannot learn everything out of a fucking book.
If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, please call PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need, at 559-579-1551, or visit us online at painnonprofit.org. Follow us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Pain Nonprofit. And please subscribe to the Don't Hide the Scars podcast and share with others wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. And if you would like to donate to PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need, please click the link in the description to make your tax-deductible donation today and help us save more lives gripped by addiction.
Yeah, we all need to be shown a better way of life, a different way of life, and it's just not being made available. But I want to ask you your opinion on this, and we're not stopping doing Narcan. We as an organization stand behind it and believe and will continue to do it. But I was thinking about this when you were talking, when the heroin users that we knew, especially if they're intravenous, they had their rig, they had their spoon and their cotton balls and their needles and syringes and everything else. And what it sparked it was remembering a situation in which we turned this account over to law enforcement, but an individual had reached out asking for Narcan, and then I tracked their additional accounts, and clearly they were labeling themselves as a dealer. Do you think we're getting some less calls, interaction going on because now part of the fentanyl rig, Narcan's being included?
Oh, most definitely. Oh, most definitely. That goes hand in hand. I think we need to put something out on that more often.
Okay.
Because it's how I put it in the past. I've called it the James Dean Fun Pack. Well, now we can include Narcan in the James Dean Fun Pack.
Yeah,
of course they are. I think I believe that's why we've seen a decrease in overdose deaths.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a decrease in hospitalizations, in emergency room visits because of Narcan. And I want to make this clear to everybody that's listening. When you are given Narcan, it wipes out the opioid from your body. I'm just putting this in layman's terms. It makes it go away. And when that happens, it throws you into immediate detox. Maybe not within the hour, maybe not within the 4 hours or 5, but within an 8-hour period, if not sooner, you are going to be in withdrawal symptoms again. So Narcan is not a treatment tool. It's not a fix. It is a life-saving tool, period. End of story.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talk about the treatment side of it. Then, of course, this has to be brought up with it as well. Why aren't the hospitals partnering with treatment centers, all treatment centers? So if somebody wants the help right then and there, that hospital can go, here's a card for you to call. Or better yet, let us make the call for you.
Mm-hmm.
Let us make the call for you. They've got social workers on staff. They've got what are called navigators in those hospitals that can navigate somebody through this. Where the hell are they?
Yeah. Yeah.
And who, by the way, if they claim they have them on staff, who are they calling? But here's what they also have to be careful about. Because this happened. This is about 2.5 weeks ago. I'm not going to say the city. It wasn't in Fresno, all right, but it was in California. I got a call from somebody whose child was a fentanyl addict. That person was taken into the hospital for an overdose. They saved him, revived, sent home with Suboxone. This person was so sick because the doctor gave this person Suboxone too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor did not know what he or she was even doing. Somebody has to be in withdrawal symptoms before you can give somebody Suboxone, or you're going to get deathly ill. And this is what happened. So this person had to go back to the hospital again. And this doctor made up some chicken shit excuse. But that was given too soon. My point again, doctors don't always know. They don't always, or they're so busy that they just don't think. That is a true story.
I believe you.
You
I
know,
mean, Jim on last week even said our medical, it's in shambles.
it is in shambles.
When I brought up stuff about insurance, and we had a prior guest on, who popped us to that reality. It's what, like 12% of any doctors actually going through medical school have to do any education on any level on addiction medicine.
Right.
So, hey, good, simple answer. All right. Yeah, this guy was a fentanyl user, had an overdose. Here's Suboxone. They don't understand anything about that detox process.
Right.
Because I didn't. I sat and asked you. Well, no, because you got to let it clear because this is the reason. And,
right.
Suboxone works differently than fentanyl does. And here's what it'll do to the body, and it's like, yeah, it's not just as simple as here's your little trade-off.
Right.
All right, great. Here's your prescription for. No, it's like,
right.
What the?
Yeah. What the F?
Yeah.
Okay? I it's shocking. Yeah. I mean, how many times do we say that around here? I mean, it's shocking that the lack of knowledge on this. And then there's just, you and me sitting here. Okay. I mean, in recovery, but no more than these guys do. And I'm sorry, we do.
Yeah.
Hey, that's not to say I'm better than somebody else. All right. It's not about being better than somebody else. It's about taking your ego, put it behind you for a bit, listen, because people don't know everything about this.
Mm-hmm.
My God, listen to some of us that know about this. There's no ulterior motive here. None.
No.
So again, I don't understand. I don't get it half the time. That's why I'm angry half the time. But yeah, I just wish there were some better. But again, I'm beating that one up too much. We have to figure out a way how to change that.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've got an idea.
Mm-hmm.
By discussing what here hopefully is going to happen here in the next 2-3 months.
Yeah.
To where we're going to get in front of some people that actually give a shit, okay, and are going to be able to help make some moves here. Because like I said, something has to be done.
Yeah.
And and I want to go back to a second with that phone call I got from that person, the parent in this. They've been dealing with their child with this for years. And even that parent had no idea that their child was using fentanyl, had no idea it was as bad as it was because addicts were pretty good at hiding it. But here's a parent who didn't know hardly anything about it, And when that parent left the hospital, he probably knew less than when he got there, because the doctor really couldn't explain anything to him. Oh, no, your child's on fentanyl. He was revived. Here's the Boxone. Good luck to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about it, right?
No.
There's not even a comeback for it.
Yeah, a lot of foul language goes through my mind, but yeah, it's just baffling, because it's not. It never has and never will be that simple, and it frustrates me to just have a multitude of people that just seemingly want to make it that simple. And the rhetoric they keep putting out is that it's that simple, that it's just like, here's a replacement thing, and the wording they'll use. They'll even, and so I heard instead of medication assisted treatment, therapy, stating it as therapy. There's nothing effing therapeutic about it.
Right.
Like there is no healing that's going to go on. There is no growth. There is no getting at the things underneath. There is no all these wonderful, having your crucible and confronting these things and the whys and building community. It's just not there.
Right.
But just stop. Just stop. Yes, I get there are some people that, they go and they do work or whatever it is. But I don't know. Is that all you want to offer?
Right.
So, right. That's what the people that in it for recovery, that's what we're fighting for.
Right. But we're fighting. We're also fighting against the people that we're supposed to be fighting with.
Yeah.
Because you have, again, no disrespect intended here, but you have the families that have lost a child to this horrific disease. I can't even explain how horrific that is. Never would even want to put myself in a position to be where a parent has lost a child in this.
Yeah.
But they're promoting, they're not promoting treatment. They're promoting keeping somebody alive.
Yeah.
But again, you just can't say here, we're going to instruct you on Narcan. By the way, we instruct everybody on Narcan because we think it's fantastic. It needs to be done, but we give a solution. Now, whether they accept that solution or not is another story. Right?
Yeah.
But these other organizations are out there just going, no, this is what needs to be done. And then you can put them on something, blah, 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 that's going to keep them alive for however long. They're not, that's not a solution. That's a fucking Band-Aid.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. They can call me an asshole. They can tell me I'm wrong. They can continue to do it. I'm not budging on this.
Yeah. I'm
not budging. Give the person the option. Because guess what, for all those people out there, it's not your life.
Exactly.
It's the addict's life.
Yeah. Because that's was going to be it's a rhetorical question, but yeah. Is it about you and making you the individual feel good, or is it about that other life?
Right. Right.
So I don't know.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Let's drop the effing mic. Hey, asshole, you got anything else? He said call you that. Flindt, anything else?
Jason, just look. That got me fired up. I'm glad it did. I needed to get fired up today. And those are the things that keep me going, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
This is sometimes we can all kind of put our own selves on the shelf for a minute, and woe is me and poor me and blah blah blah. Well, guess what? This conversation just got me all fired up again. because that's what it comes down to. It's not about what's good for it's good for what is good for the addict, what is good for their recovery. Give them the option.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you that want to keep the practicing addict down, get out of our way. Get out of that addict's way. It's not about you, it's about them right now. And give them a shot to get back. Give them a shot to get back to a life that is worth living again.
Mm-hmm.
Because you will be surprised
Yep.
on what they can accomplish.
Yep. And I understand that's hard for the person that cares about that addict, because their addiction the addict's addiction has been all about them.
Sure.
But you're going to have to support that recovery that also has to be all about them, because eventually they'll learn it's not about them at all.
Right.
And that is
Right.
a magical place to be.
Right. Great way to end it.
Yeah. Well, of course, coming up on the 7th, Fentanyl Awareness Day, you might see some of the stuff we've been putting out on social media. And, Flindt, you and I just encourage people every damn day is Fentanyl Awareness Day.
Every day is. You betcha. You bet. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thank you, good sir. Love you. And hey, thank you all for listening. Please hit that subscribe button, whatever audio platform you're on, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or go to our YouTube. Please get subscribed there. See all the podcasts and other content in video form. And if you're in need of anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. The website, painnonprofit.org, contact Flindt, myself, whatever it is, we're here to help. If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, please call PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need, at 559-579-1551, or visit us online at painnonprofit.org. Follow us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Pain Nonprofit. And please subscribe to the Don't Hide the Scars podcast and share with others wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. And if you would like to donate to PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need, please click the link in the description to make your tax-deductible donation today and help us save more lives gripped by addiction.